Let's do this.
Can we go?
Yeah.
Right, an auteur is a film director who influences their films so much that they rank as like an author. It carries connotations of art and artistic visions, and the films they make are regarded as their body of work. They have their own unique style, and it's shown consistently throughout. I know that my author, Christopher Nolan, is an auteur because of his fan-made video. There's a notable, recognisable style throughout all of his films. An ongoing theme he has is like chaos, pain, and fear. And another theme that he has consistently throughout his films is identity and memory. How do we know that Christopher Nolan is an auteur? Shan J. Wilson says that Christopher Nolan is frequently described by journalists as a blockbuster auteur. So, basically, yeah. Just a few of his favourite films. His film Batman: The Dark Knight. In this scene, and I can get it up. He uses very low-key lighting with splashes of light in different spots. This creates the theme of mystery that Nolan uses in most of his films. He uses the lighting to create the fear that is a key theme throughout the film. You never know what may be lurking in the dark. A non-diegetic soundtrack comes into play later through the scene, making the feeling of suspense and fear prominent to the audience. The use of the prop of the handcuffs and the desk lamp connotes to the audience that the Joker is being interrogated in a controlled, secure environment, setting the scene so that the audience understand exactly what is going on in the narrative. The use of the Joker's makeup, as well as lines of dialogue such as, "Me, I was right here, why, who did you leave him with?" suggests to the audience that the Joker is a sarcastic and delusional character that thinks everything is just one big game, since we all know that from past scenes the Joker likes to play tricks and tease people. The Joker's makeup makes him look like he is constantly smiling, even when he isn't playing the theme of identity. Both Batman and the Joker wear some form of mask to hide their true facial expressions, using this almost as a defense mechanism to the world, which ties in with the theme of fear, since being defensive shows you are scared to reveal things about themselves. The next scene of mise en scène is Prestige. In this prison scene, from the lighting it has undertones of greys and blues. The use of the dusky lighting along with brown and grey dreary costumes of actors suggests that they are from a different era, and the film is definitely not set in the 21st century. In this film, Nolan uses his props to create a sense of mystery, much like how he does with the lighting in The Dark Knight. So the use of prop of the ball, along with the dialogue of, and ask, "Are you watching closely?" maybe a magic word or two, makes the audience feel enticed into the scene and curious about whether or not this so-called magician, like the prison guard suggests he is really the real thing. The use of diegetic sound in the background, clinking of chains, suggests to the audience that the film is set in a time when prisons were a lot more restricted with their prisoners. All prisoners were chained up at all times, whereas in The Dark Knight, one set of fixed handcuffs were used to restrict the Joker, which were then taken off him. Both of the scenes play with the theme of identity through the costume. Both characters, Joker and the magician, play tricks, yet one of them wears a disguise whilst the other doesn't, showing that the magician doesn't feel the need to hide anything about himself. any defence, whereas the Joker does because he lives in fear of people knowing. So I compared the film Skyfall to The Dark Knight. In the film Skyfall, directed by Sam Mead, Silver wanted to get back at MI6, but more specifically like Judi Dench. He wanted to put on a show. He was theatrical and critical in his planning, just like a version of like Heath Ledger, the Joker from The Dark Knight. Skyfall closely follows the narrative of The Dark Knight, only with like the plot slightly different and simpler than Nolan's. Both of the films are similar in narrative with the way that the two protagonists are made out to be villains, with Batman being despised by the people of Gotham City and Bond being blamed for something he didn't do. When it comes to costume, the two antagonists have similarities. They both hide their facial dysfunctions, with Silver using a metal removable plate to make his face look normal and hide how he truly looks, and the Joker using clown makeup to cover the big scars on his face that have left him with a permanent smile. These similarities are quite conventional in the fact that the villains both wear disguises like in most action thriller films. The difference between The Dark Knight and Skyfall is that the narrative in Skyfall begins with a possibility of redemption, whereas The Dark Knight ends up with him being cast as a villain. Nolan produces original material rather than Meady's, who has practically copied Nolan's idea. My author is imaginative and knows how to create recognisable films, themes of pain and chaos through great action scenes and fear through use of sound and colours in his films. And then my sound, I analysed. Did I open that?
I don't think you did.
It's the opening scene of The Dark Knight.
Just on there. Not too much because I can't really speak over it.
This is the scene right at the beginning of The Dark Knight. The scene is extremely important when it comes to sound. At first, the only moving pictures we see are the emblems of the production companies. It's very important for the soundtracks to be correct at this point in order to create the correct reaction out of the audience. The contrapuntal music is quite tense with low undertones, and along with the use of dark colours of the credits, it makes the audience feel a sense of fear and anticipation. A key aspect of the sound is that the tense music fades out. There is suddenly a deep drum beat and the ticking sound grows faster as we begin to see an aerial view of the city. From the start to this point, the narrative has been driven forward only by sound. This is really powerful as it creates a sense of mystery for the audience. The ticking is then suddenly cut out by a sharp noise of a smashing window.
Yes.
This sound would have been created in a studio using Foley in order to create a specific high-pitched quick smash. The sound shocks the audience straight away, grabbing their attention, making them feel curious and scared about because of the quick, unexpected noise. Whilst the man is stood in the street holding his mask, there is no ambient sound whatsoever. Only the non-diegetic soundtrack can be heard growing louder until a sudden burst of screeching tyres quickly averts the audience's attention to a car. The noises of opening car doors and clipping on wires are all sharp and quick, giving the scene a feeling of anticipation and excitement. The use of diegetic dialogue when the masked men are driving in the car, getting their guns ready, begins to give the audience an understanding of what's going on, and this is where the audience begins to feel a disliking towards these men, and you know what they're going to rob a bank carelessly.
Okay, tag in.
I'm going to do cinematography. Oh, it's that one first. Yeah, but I'm just going to go straight. Oh.
Okay, cool.
not as serious as
The
yours.
camera... Do you want me to turn it
I
down?
shall.
The camera movement is following Bane the whole time, so this makes the audience feel as though we're on his shoulder. It makes us feel like he's in control, but not only of Batman, of us too. The lighting in this screenshot is all directed onto Bane, emphasising Bane's muscles to portray Bane as strong. Batman then falls to the floor and the lighting goes completely black, making the audience feel as if Batman has failed. Also, you emphasise with Batman because of this, as you are getting the feeling of him disappearing. I think I was meant to put
Empathise.
Yeah, that's what I meant. In the low angle pan to the right of Bane looks like a statue due to his stance with his arms on the side, looking up. This is the feeling I get that is being portrayed from the shot. Statues are usually of famous, important people, and I think that this is what they are trying to show to the audience, that he has more authority. Bane is shot from a low angle, showing the audience that he is looking down on Batman, as this is where he has just fallen. This tells the audience that Batman is weaker. Also, it makes Bane look bigger to express that he is the boss. The composition of Bane in the shot is just off-centre, giving Bane lots of looking space. The meaning that is created from this could be that he is free, meaning he can do whatever he wants and nobody's in his way.
Yes, you are excommunicated by a gang of psychopaths.
In the editing of this video, you can see that they have used a colour correction tool to make it black and white. This makes the audience feel like the scene might have been from the past. Also, Christopher Nolan may have wanted it to feel like a flashback. The meaning that is created from this might be confusion. The main character may feel lost, so therefore they have used black and white to portray his feelings. Christopher Nolan has used a close-up shot, all focused upon the main character. The meaning that I feel is created from this would be that we would need to listen to the man. The camera shot always hands up back to him. The composition of the main character is in the centre and close-up. I feel Christopher Nolan wanted us to feel by now that we are close to him, that it may be a secret due to how close the shot is to his face. The lighting in the scene is done so that the man has one side of his face dark and one side of his face black. The meaning created from this could be that the character has two sides to him, or it may portray how he is feeling. He doesn't know how he feels due to white meaning happy and black meaning sad, or maybe the dark side to him. To compare Inception to The Dark Knight Rises, you can easily see that this is Christopher Nolan's work. They are both very similar screenshots, however, from two different movies. They both use a colour grading of what almost looks like black and white, with just hints of red. The hints of red could mean make the audience feel danger or violence, or that could maybe mean blood. They are both in the location of a city, more or less making us feel like both movies were set in the same place. In the scene, you can hear a soundtrack of violins. This is supposed to make the audience feel suspense to what is about to happen. The orchestral soundtrack helps to create suspense as to what is about to happen. It is fast-paced, so makes the audience feel time is going fast. The scene also uses non-diegetic sound of a mask being broke. This would have been produced in Foley. It makes the audience feel as if Bane is some sort of monster with the sound the mask made. It also uses a sound bridge when it's going from the city to the bridge where Joseph Gordon-Levitt is. This makes us feel that something bad is about to happen everywhere. Dialogue is used in the scene to make the audience understand the narrative and what may happen to. I really need to sit through.
You'll have to go and get one then.
I'm sorry.
Swatch the rest of the scene.
My hay fever's really bad.
It's fine, come on.
I've now compared the Dark Knight Rises to Die Hard. Christopher Nolan uses natural light in these two pictures. However, the director of Die Hard uses low-key lighting. Christopher Nolan creates a genre of action better because the audience can see clearly what is going on and you are able to see what setting they are in. Unfortunately, in Die Hard, this is hard to see, therefore doesn't give the same effect. Christopher Nolan, in the scene of Dark Knight Rises, has a soundtrack and dialogue explaining to the audience the narrative. The soundtrack is orchestral and therefore creates attention for the audience. However, in the Die Hard film, the director does not use a soundtrack and only uses dialogue. This still helps to explain the narrative but does not make the audience feel anything. In my opinion, Christopher Nolan does a better job portraying the genre because he helps to tell more of the story through better cinematography and has thought through well what is going to happen in the scene and what everything is going to mean. The director of Die Hard has only thought about camera work and not focused properly on the sound and camera shots and how it would make the audience feel. To conclude the presentation, I believe Christopher Nolan has shown himself to be a better author by he uses a lot of the same actors like Tom Hardy, Joseph Gordon-Levitt and Michael Caine in Inception and Batman, and also uses Cillian Murray in Batman Begins and Inception. Also, he uses particularly the same shots as shown in the comparison of Inception. From research we have found a quote of what somebody has said about Christopher Nolan. Here's a quote of what somebody said about Christopher Nolan. Let me ask you a question. You never really remember the beginning of a dream, do you? You always wind up right in the middle of what's going on. Then it goes on to explain how Memento and Inception support the statement. They say Nolan's thoughts on the relatively unknown subjects of dreaming and memory visually manifested on the screen. So it's explaining how it's explained. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.